Hey everyone, Dr. Nakumbi.
Coach K, what's up? Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, to you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's 2024. Life is all right. I thought we would, when I was growing up, they said we would have flying cars. I remember the pictures, and we would be going to Mars. Although if you have enough money, you can go where you need to go.
Right. I have
You have
heard
$1
of
billion,
that.
$1 billion.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to notify the government or nothing. Just take off, come back, and let us know how it went.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. That sounds scary.
Yeah.
Well, because of course, like I want to get into, how you've been, all the things, but we'll connect. But
Absolutely.
welcome to Black Men Unfiltered Network, breaking the cycle with Dr. Nakumbi and myself, Coach K. And we have some people in the chat. Just want to welcome everyone in. And for those who catch the replay, be sure to like the video, please, and to subscribe if you haven't. It definitely helps the algorithm, and would be grateful that you do so. And share it if you find it interesting or helpful, whatever. Thank you so much for being here. We have Tina in the chat.
Yes, Tina Ev in the chat. What's up? Welcome, welcome.
Yep.
Mandrell is in the house. Drelly is here. Happy New Year to you.
Yes. I'm sure Mandrell likes this topic. I was, looking up some stats for this show, and a lot of people who make New Year's resolutions, the majority of them are fitness related. So definitely up Mandrell's alley for sure.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah. And I also want to shout out to CBN, Black David's in the back. He is our engineer for the night. So thank you, Black David, for being here.
Working the dials and making it happen. BMU Networks in the house, pressing the buttons, not pressing the buttons, the whole operation is his. So,
right.
Yeah. But so welcome to the network. If you have not been here before, please know that there are shows throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely check them out. There's something for each person's flavor, so to speak. And we are here on Thursdays. We were just talking about Mandrell, but does he do fitness? On Wednesdays he's him and Shushu.
Yeah, I think
the fitness. He has a separate channel. So Mandrell, if you're here and want your channel up there about the fitness stuff, please throw it in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I know his personal channel is definitely fitness oriented. So tonight we're going to be talking about goals, because that's the hot thing at the beginning of the year. New Year's resolutions. We're going to change things. We're going to stop doing this, start doing this, whatever it is. And we're a couple. Well, no, it's only 1 week late, but we're going to talk about a little bit about why people don't achieve their goals and goals in general, and what they can do or avoid to make sure they conquer those goals and to be successful. And while I was, again, Googling, researching a little bit for this topic, and again, this is goals in general. This isn't just for resolution goals. Like,
right.
That's just because it's the beginning of the year. And that's usually what people do. Or Mondays. I used to do that when I was in school. I'm going to start fresh on Monday. Did you ever do that? Or like new semester, the next semester, I'm going to start fresh.
Yep. Sometimes starting tomorrow. This Monday, this weekend, tomorrow, it's on.
Yes.
Sunday. Get another
right.
week.
Right. And we're like planning that night. And what's interesting is we plan, we have this grand idea to be different, to change something, and we don't really know how we're going to do it, what we're going to do. It's just magically going to be different, and we're magically going to be motivated. And that usually doesn't happen. So we're going to get into that. But one thing that I thought was interesting was that the number one reason why 92% of New Year's resolutions fail for Americans is because they don't lose the weight quickly enough. It's because they view resolutions as short-term goals, and if they don't see the results or that instant gratification that we desire as humans, they aren't motivated and they give up and then they stop trying. What do you think about that?
Well, hell, the iPhone, i13, i14, within months of each other. So losing weight, we need instant results. Instant. The pants need to drop, the belt size, waist size.
Right.
I need to see instant
abs
presto.
or something.
Yes. Paint on abs. Yep. And so if I don't see it, I'm ready to switch, abort, stop, lose motivation. Right. Yep.
And I think that's one of the reasons, among many, why we don't achieve our goals or why we don't commit to changes is because we're reliant on those results or those improvements to motivate us, to be our motivation. And that's a problem when we don't see improvement right away. Or, sometimes with weight loss, I think, people will be doing all the right things and the number on the scale might be higher than you would think. It could be water weight. I don't know. That's Mandrell's, expertise. But if you're reliant on that to be your source of motivation, you're not going to follow through. You're not going to stay committed. So before anything else, I would say, what is the why behind your goals? Why do you want to change this thing? Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to reduce your credit card debt? Why do you want to start getting more sleep? Why? It may seem obvious, but ask yourself, why? Because that why, the reasons for doing this thing is going to matter when you are lacking motivation, which you will, by the way. When you don't want to keep going or when it's tough, which it will be, that why is going to be your anchor to keep going. It's going to be something that's greater than, wanting that cupcake or whatever, or wanting to skip a day. I almost said can of Pringles, Dr. Jacoby, but I didn't.
Yes.
But now I just did.
Coach, I'm adjusting my camera here for just a second, please.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Try to do it with the mic closed, but
no, do your thing.
with the
do your
can
thing.
closed.
No, do your thing.
Yeah, the can of Pringles.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know why I can't get this.
No, you're good. Do your thing.
Oh, there we go. Yay.
So wanting that instant, gratification or that reward of eating whatever or giving into those urges, if we don't have that why, we're going to do that.
But what's the why do? So I know why. Let's say I know why. But why is that one of the determining factors?
Because of when you're not feeling motivated, again, which you're not going to, or when, let's say you've been doing really great with this routine, this fitness routine or this workout routine. But one day, you don't get much sleep, your kids are being bad, I don't know, you had a really rough day at work and you're tired. So your willpower is kind of being strained. And there's going to be part of you that wants to stay home and not go to the gym or not, eat according to your meal plan. But your why is going to bring that back to the forefront. If you're just saying, I just want to lose weight, well, that's pretty broad. I just want to lose weight, but why?
Right. I just want that beach body. My doctor says so. I want to look good for my woman. I just want to feel, it's the new year. I mean, isn't this time to lose the weight, right?
Yeah, no time with the new year. Now, those reasons they have a little bit more oomph to them than I've had a long day and I really don't want to go to the gym.
Right.
So
then to rely, so I don't want to go to the gym, then I recall the why, or maybe even have it posted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So this adds to another point of why we don't achieve our goals, and what to do, or one thing to keep in mind to achieve your goals is to expect it to be hard. Expect yourself to not be motivated. Expect those obstacles to arise because they will.
Yeah.
But it is not going to be smooth sailing. Go ahead.
The package says pop some pills, do some drinks. In fact, there's a commercial that says I can eat carbs and pizzas and burgers. Like legit commercial. I don't know if you've seen it.
I believe it.
One of the shred, I think something shred.
Oh, shreds.
You don't have shred, a V shred. Something about you don't have, you can eat a regular meal. But anyway, so I'm eating a regular meal. I'm not losing the weight that I anticipated or expected, which I don't know, Coach. Expectations, extreme expectations might be the fastest way to disappointment.
100%. Yeah. Well, expecting, if our expectations are that it's gonna be smooth sailing, we're just gonna wake up and we're gonna feel like we want to do this, or that the results are going to happen by this time. Yeah, you're gonna be disappointed and you're gonna think something's going wrong. I mean, there's so many different ways we can spiral, but ultimately we're not gonna want to keep going. So that's why I would say expect those things to happen. For example, when I talk to my clients who are young adults in college and they enjoy their classes when they're understanding the material and they're doing their homework when they understand the material. That's great. Good.
Right.
But what are you going to do when you don't understand it? Expect that to happen at some point. And that's step 2B, 2A. Plan for that. What are we going to do when that expected happens? Which is where the why comes in, like you just said.
Okay.
So if you are expecting yourself to, after a long day, really want a beer or really want pizza, what are you going to do when that happens to keep yourself on track? That might be pulling up the paragraph I have on my why in my phone, or having, this goes to another point down, but having that person who is aware of my goals, and whether it's my spouse or a colleague or a friend, you had a long day, remember what your why is.
What the why is, the focus, intention.
Yeah. So really, so far we have your why, knowing your why, for why you're going after this goal. Why do you want to make this change? What's the reason for this? That's going to anchor you when the going gets tough. But with that why, that's going to come up with your expectations. Expect things to not be smooth all the time. That's going to be point 2. Expect it to be hard. Expect yourself to not want to do it, and to know that that's normal. Nothing's gone wrong at that point.
But why should I expect it to be hard? I mean, if it's, I get like, hard work. Some days I may not feel like it, but to even know, why would I want to do something that's
a great question.
difficult?
That's a
we live in
great
a world
question.
now where things are sensitive and soft, and when it is too hard, I don't. Why would I want to? Why would I want to hurt myself?
Well, I would say not for everyone, but let's say they want to make a change when it comes to their health or their fitness. You want to do this hard thing because if you don't, you're looking at having to take shots of insulin. I don't know the right terminology, but you're pre-diabetic. So this is going to be hard to mitigate that. But of course, like, it's going to be this hard or that hard. Which one do you want?
Got it.
But another reason why it's going to be hard too is because it's not automatic yet. This goes into another reason why people fail with their goals.
Okay.
It takes time to form a new habit, to create, to start doing something on the regular that you're not currently doing, right? I mean, otherwise this wouldn't be a habit. This wouldn't be a change. This wouldn't be a goal. If you're not used to doing it, it's going to take some extra effort and energy to start. Dr. Nakambi, what's something that you do, we'll say like a healthy routine or a healthy habit that you have that you do? It's just something you do. It's a routine.
Well, I've been eating M&Ms lately, so I don't know if that. I don't know if that. It's been a habit lately, but healthy routine.
What kind? The regular, just plain ones, or
these the peanut? But there's some peanut butter ones that I mix with the peanut ones.
Oh shoot, that's not good. I haven't heard of those. I'm good.
Sleep habits. Sleep hygiene is kind of the clinical term. Sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
It's because I want to get in the routine of keeping consistent with the time. If I can get to bed 10:30, 11, consistently, and get about 7-8 hours sleep, that would be like a routine that I would want to stay consistent with.
Okay, so that's one you want. Do you have a routine that currently that is one that you came up with? Now it's routine. It's like second nature, but you had to establish it at some point that you have now.
Well, so even like some of the YouTube watching or different programs, I have to know, no matter what I watch, the cutoff time.
Okay.
Because before it would be an excuse like, oh, this is good, I have to keep going,
Yeah.
But the agreement, part of the routine, no matter how good it is, there's a cutoff time. So created a cutoff time, and then I have to stay committed to that. Then
go ahead. No, keep going.
Then the problem is though, but then how you have off time or weekend time, or let's do the generic Monday through Friday. But then my brain says, oh, well, you don't work tomorrow, you have a different schedule. So then I had to I like your words, discomfort. I had to find comfort in going to bed on the weekend consistently, maybe give myself an extra half an hour. Like if I get to sleep in the next day.
Right.
but then set the routine of, but it's still a structured time. So it's not just
Right.
yeehaw whenever I get to bed. I still have a structured time. And so, what were you going to ask?
So, when you first started giving yourself that cutoff time with the YouTube shows, was
Mhm.
that hard at first?
It was because, I can have a headset on and say, well, let me prepare, let me start my routine. So I'm hearing the audio, but then I want to come and see what's going on. So then the hard part was because I'm still, even though I'm away, maybe go brush my teeth, prepare the night, but I get
Yeah.
sucked back into wanting to see and hear. So see and hear brought me back to the, even I have a headset and I can move, but the seeing part brought me back. And then next thing I know, like if I'm entertained, oh damn it, that whole hour, 2 hours went by.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get sucked into that. But remember, if I stick to the agreement of no matter what, that means either I have to learn to separate the sound, like, what? I got to go. Nope. No matter how much
Mm,
drama, action. And if you listen to audio tapes, audio stuff, that part becomes easier because there's not a visual. But I have to either make a
right.
commitment to not go see, they're squabbling this, or I have to stop the whole thing. If I know I get sucked in, and how many times do I say that? I might be in denial. Another night,
Right.
another night. All right, starting tomorrow. No, Monday. Yeah.
Right,
No,
right.
starting Sunday show. Who's on Sunday? All right, and then the Monday show, that's a night one. They come on at 8:30, they go till about 10:30. Who that's cutting it
Mhm.
close. So I prepare, but again, my whole point is I have to know realistically if I can do the audio without getting caught into having to see the visual. And if I,
Yeah.
after so many times, I have to just be honest, accept radical acceptance. I have to be honest with myself and say I just can't do any of it after a certain time.
Okay. So what you just said spoke to some of like the things that we were just talking about. One of them was, expecting yourself to kind of be sucked in or to want to go look at, if there's, some drama going to want to. So you were
Mhm,
expecting yourself to want to do that. So then you have prepared for that by,
mhm,
okay, well, first the awareness too, like, no, that's something, that's a piece of it, is the awareness. But also, okay, if this comes up, I do this.
mhm, mhm,
So but when you first started doing this, I'm sure it was difficult to want to cut off, like to make that cutoff point because you wanted to just keep listening, or even to know to cut off your viewing
mhm.
wasn't automatic, is my point, you
No,
know?
this stuff is addicting. And then you
I
could put
know.
in, I can put in different, say, oh, an accountability partner. Let's say, because you're married. So if you say to like a partner, if you say like to your husband, hey, I, I know my own willpower, da da da. I need that nudge.
Right.
But if your husband says, hey, all right, now you said tell you about 15 minutes in advance, and then what happens? All right, tell me like 5 minutes, right? And then the 5 minute in advance. And so I have the nudge, and maybe the first time, a few times it might work, but still that temptation, if I don't know how to get past that, what I call that, like that addiction. And then what is the addiction to? Because I'm saying is visual. Notice I said, like if something pops off, like if I now if they're doing what's it called when they show a video and we're speaking about the video,
Oh, a
a re,
review or a
the review,
reaction.
reaction video. Thank you. Then of course I have to see what the video is that we're reacting to. If it's a show
Right.
like ours where we're just talking, well, I can walk away. That's more podcast style. I can walk away and listen.
Right.
But if either one of us gets into the theatrics and then like the commotion, and we're like, oh, what's he talking? Face reactions. So even though on the surface I'm committed to the dun, 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 and ooh. But really, that what does that serve? That really gave me like an adrenaline rush, or it depends on what I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
for, what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I have to really learn to disconnect from.
Right.
And so it took a minute, but once I got started, like the routine, then it actually became
Right.
easier because like other parts, I don't say other parts of my brain, but it became where it, it's kind of weird to explain it because let's say I'm starting to do this around 11:30, 12, but
Yeah.
now, and then even fighting that, like, oh, because they're still going, let me stay with it. But
Right.
then when I'm practicing, so I told myself, I have it in writing, I've given it voice, I may have an
Mm-hmm.
accountability partner or not or whatever, but now that I've adjusted, it's weird because now around 9:40, well, if I said 10, if I said to bed by 10:30, but now 9:50, 10 o'clock, it it starts, it looks like that's my new
It's your new
gauge.
baseline.
Yeah, my new baseline. And so then it becomes easier, more automatic. So yeah, I don't know how to really explain it other than that, but it just
Yes.
feels like it's becoming more automatic.
Well, right. And that's why it's going to be hard at first. We want to expect that. But anything that we've done, like, what you were just describing with kind of, containing like how much you watch YouTube or whatever, anything we've started, but
Mhm.
over time the body gets used to the brain is efficient, right? So anything that we do often, it's like,
Right.
oh, you this must be important, so I'm not going to take much energy. It makes it automatic. There's
Mhm.
automaticity. um, and so this goes with the circuitry in our brain, but obviously
Mhm.
too with what it's telling our body to do. We don't have to spend much energy thinking about it. It's second nature,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
but we don't give ourselves enough time to really get those reps in to make it automatic,
Mhm.
because we give up,
Right.
and then we never find out. So it's like,
Mhm.
again, expect it to be hard,
Mhm.
um, because it's new.
Right.
Duh. I can't help it.
Right.
It's brand new, but the things that you're doing now, you've done them so often. That's why they're so easy, and that's why they're hard to
So,
break too.
mhm. So, but then would you? So I'm gonna go from, let's say, healthy to, well, okay. So the M&Ms
Yeah.
has gotten to a point where like this is my nightly snack and routine.
Yeah.
Like it's a go to. Like I have it there, and I don't. I may not even be in the mood to snack. So now I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to make this carrot sticks and celery sticks.
Yeah.
At first, it's hard because it doesn't have the sugary taste and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
have the crunch from the hard shell, but
Right.
actually it does have a crunch, carrots and stuff. So now let's say I'm getting into that routine. I'm the desire for, like, I actually might get this one night, and then like, oops, I meant to get my carrots, right? Because then things changed.
Right. So it doesn't. I don't. I can hear you, but there's like a delay with your video. I'm not sure, and I just want to
Is
make
there a
sure
delay?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I hear you, but like your
Oh, my
in
video.
CBN, yeah, your video is like delayed too. Um, so and I didn't know
Oh,
if it was my Chrome or whatever, but in CBN, let me know if that's like that on your end, because it could be just my Chrome or
well, it's
something.
supposed to be some autofocus thing. I wonder if it's a delay. Oh yeah,
Oh,
see that? Whoa, whoa. Yeah, that was horrible.
okay.
So
Wait,
I'm in,
how'd you do? What's an
I
autofocus?
don't
Is
know,
that on your computer?
yeah, some low G camera thing, I mean, it's supposed to
Oh, I
follow
know what you're talking
me.
about.
If I twitch or move or whatever, it's supposed to catch every move. but
Oh, beautifully
but it looked like
animated
it
says
looked like
there's
a
a delay.
oh yeah, I see it now. Ooh. Oh yeah. That's that 2024 Ebonics move I have. Yeah, that's that. I don't know how to I don't know how to I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll close while I'm talking for a minute. I'll just close the camera while I'm talking.
And then is your camera on, what definition is it on? I don't know why
Camera
that would
definition.
matter. Yeah, the resolution.
I have it on high, full definition. I'm gonna change it. I mean, I have it on. I'm gonna change it down to standard. See if that changes.
Or try. Wait, you had it on full high or high?
I had on thing called full high, and then there's another one just called high.
Yeah, try high maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I will see.
I don't know. Either way, because I have to react to your facial reactions.
Oh my.
Wait,
Oh yeah, because I get pretty theatric, but no, I wasn't acting that
still
time.
delayed a little bit.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Well, cool.
Either way,
I'll fix this behind the scenes. But yeah, sorry,
you're
the
good.
M&Ms. But you were able to see the M&M though. You able to see that though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was. Oh, so
it was real quick. What's up, Trey Ferg's in the house? Beautiful animators in the house. Lady Navoa has stopped by. Thank you. Understand you can't stay, but glad you made your presence.
Yes, good to see you.
is in the house. Thank you. Marcus Evans is also in the house. Greetings, everyone.
Shout out to
happy
y'all.
New Year. We've been gone for a few weeks, so welcome back. Thank you again for swinging through and staying as long as you can. If you are listening to the replay, please be sure to hit the like button when you come in or when you catch this. Thank you. All right, Coach K.
All right. So again, we're talking about New Year's resolutions, but really goals and why you're not achieving them and what to do to achieve them. Mm-hmm. So the first one we talked about was having your why, knowing your why for the change. Second one, expecting things to be hard, but also expecting yourself to have for yourself to lose motivation, to not have motivation all the time, or for yourself if you're trying to stop eating sweets.
And that's normal.
Expect yourself to have difficulty with your cravings. Like expect those things. So then when it happens, not only can you create a plan on how to deal with it when it comes up, but you're not surprised and you think that something's gone wrong. So expect those things to happen because they're going to happen. But with the carrot and the the M&Ms, I'm curious, Dr. Nakumbi.
Yep.
Because if we replaced, and it's funny because that's why Dark Lake calls me baby carrots, because I've shared this example one time. Yep. If we replace even the carrots with, I don't know, pistachios or whatever.
Yep.
Even though it might seem healthier, like carrots are healthier than M&Ms, but what would happen if you don't have M&Ms or carrots or pistachios or anything? Like what are we just replacing a habit with something else?
Oh, interesting, because you notice I said I still get the crunch.
Right.
With the carrots.
Right.
So
what's the desire, like what, there's still some type of reward being or some type of, because we, it's pleasure and reward, so some type of pleasure we're after that's being rewarded, but what is it? I mean, and that's with all of our habits, even us getting on YouTube. There's something we want. We're getting some type of fill, and replacing it with something else, it's still answering that, that pleasure urge.
Still hitting the spot. Yeah, still addressing that urge.
Yep. Even if it's deemed healthier, it's still not getting to the root of what that desire is, or that urge. Yeah, go ahead.
Then I'm wondering, so because I'm not seeing the results, I'm still feeding, no pun intended, but I'm still feeding the urge.
Right.
But I'm not seeing let's see. Well, I would see the results if I'm doing carrots instead of M&Ms, but
yeah, it would be better. But what if you don't have carrots? What are you going to do? You're going to still have that urge, and you're going to want to answer that urge.
Yes. So I'm still, because I'm not changing my hunger. I'm not changing my kind of desire to snack.
Yep.
all I did was
Yep.
change the snack.
Right,
Right.
right. My sister has an issue with
Yeah.
snacking. I really do, which is funny. I mean, I would if I would if I bought certain things. But
Right.
yeah.
But then I
So
might end up switching like to Pringles. I mean, so,
yeah.
and I know there's a whole salty versus sweet,
Mm-hmm.
but so if this, so it sounds like you're saying I haven't changed this part of
Right, right. Or
right
like
of the
whatever
habit.
you're getting from that action. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then if I don't
So
have carrots,
it's
hmm
something else. You would need
yeah,
something else. So
yeah,
like now still carrots are obviously better than M&Ms, one could argue, but if we're well, what are you trying to,
hmm
what are you trying to attack? Are you trying to attack like the snacking itself or just the unhealthy snacking, for example? What would you say?
yeah. I want to say, well, if the goal was beach body, impress a significant other, I'm thinking that the carrots serve me better. But I'm not even addressing the snack. Well, because in my mind I would say, well, only a few M&Ms. So instead of sitting there eating the whole family bag, it would just
Yeah.
be, because they have that new brand, that new bag that says share. If you care, share.
Like
Yeah.
the zip or whatever,
Right?
the
Yeah, zipper lock on it. And I always feel
yeah.
like, man, the times that I don't eat the whole bag, I always like to have that zipper lock on it.
Right,
So
right.
might as well get that bag. But then sometimes I eat them all and there's nothing to really save in the bag. So then it's like, oh, so maybe if I did that with carrots, I still get the snack. And then if I'm remember the sleep, so I'm going to tie in the sleep also. So really,
Right.
no matter what I'm snacking on that late, I shouldn't be snacking on anything that late. First of all, if I'm snacking as before I go to bed, and then if it's emotional, so if I'm into the show, so damn, oh,
Right.
and this it's
Right.
automatic, then I'm going to do this probably anytime there's like that feeding. It could be during the day,
Right.
night, carrots or not. I'm still needing this.
Right. There's that association, especially,
Right,
which makes it a double whammy. So it's like, oh, if I got my M&Ms, I gotta watch my YouTube, or if I got my YouTube, I gotta eat my
right,
M&Ms.
yeah.
But one thing you can do is allow. So if like, I totally get this. I relate. If you have one of those bags of M&Ms, preparing ahead of time, this I would say this goes into kind of like number 3 or whatever, but
Yeah.
is with preparing ahead of time, or expect your expectations. But when we, with our prefrontal cortex, which has our best interest in mind, it's the
Mhm.
planning, the executive functioning, part of the brain. Plan that you're only going to allow yourself, I don't know, maybe you divvy out 10.
Oh, you can't just do 10 minutes. You can't do 10 M&Ms. No, that's not.
What's
That's
your
what it
why, Dr. Nicole?
is. Yeah, that beach body, and for that tenderoni,
Oh
I
man.
don't know. I don't. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. That's a tough
Yeah.
one because I
Or
because I don't
maybe,
even think I
yeah.
count. I don't. In fact, there might be times for each entry, so to speak. It might even be two or three, right? Right? Because some people do one, but then there's
Right.
sometimes right before that one's even queued
Right.
up, then I'm already
Right. I'm done. Right.
that takes some
So,
discipline.
right. And like all of this is also subconscious, we're not even like realizing we're doing it. So it's like even could be even worse. But being intentional, okay. And that's good that you know that too. Again, without
Mhm.
awareness, okay. Sometimes you might do a bunch at a time or whatever.
Right,
But instead of just eliminating the M&Ms altogether,
right.
which is like cold turkey, we can wean wean you
Oh
off
yeah,
them.
we know. Yeah,
But we could prepare again ahead of time. Okay, instead of, the whole bag, maybe I fill a baggie of M&Ms. It's still a good amount. So we're kind of
yeah,
like still feeling a little like comfort, it's a baggie full.
right.
And then we're planning our eating of M&Ms. So maybe then the
Right.
next week it's I don't know, maybe count that baggie, maybe subtract 10. You're in control of it, but you are starting to, wean down.
Yeah.
And also too, let's say we're a month in and we're waiting off these M&Ms. We might plan for when we're going to have M&Ms. Instead of just doing it mindlessly, we're going to plan, okay, tonight I'm allowing myself 10 M&Ms. I don't know. So
And
it's
before like 6
again,
o'clock.
you said what at 6 o'clock?
And before like 6, because I'm saying I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do the sugar and the carbs before going to bed.
Yeah.
So if I can, I get maybe even a reward for myself. Like I got everything done, da 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 da.
Right.
Choice. I like what you said. I have choice. So tonight, maybe I should do some M&Ms tonight. I don't even need, but I have to be aware. I mean, I have to still be careful that whenever I'm not just
right.
So maybe even having them available.
Possibly. That could. Now again, it depends on like what your goal is. Is your goal to stop snacking altogether or to stop eating M&Ms? Then M&Ms, then yeah, you might not buy them.
Right.
But at the same time, and another coach that I know of, it's also like getting to the root of that habit, because do you want to be at the mercy of M&Ms? Like, do you want to be in a room with M&Ms and to know that you have the power over those M&Ms?
I do, but here's the bag. So I was talking about the excitement of the show. Let's switch it to emotions. So the relationship with me and the M&Ms, right? Because this has gotten me through some like,
yeah.
I watched the Titanic, and it's so it's gonna sound weird. Similar to abandonment issues with the human, reduced number of M&Ms to no M&Ms is still a reinforcement or an engaging in abandoning,
right,
rejection.
right.
I wonder.
You know what we do for this? It's not very pretty. It's not very like, oh, we swap it out. We again expect ourselves to have that urge. When we're watching YouTube or whatever it is, and can you identify what that urge feels like, Dr. Nicombe? Like when you like want your M&Ms?
Yes and no, because I like going back to what you said. Sometimes it's automatic.
Right.
So I don't even think sometimes I even know. I wonder if the urge is to get to the programming. Like, oh, today so and so is on, and you know what they say, kind of a package deal. So the urge is to get to the programming. Part of the package deal is to set up my M&Ms and everything. And let's say maybe if I didn't have it, so I set up to watch the show, and then all of a sudden, oh, where's my M&Ms?
Right.
Then wow, I have to be honest. I still don't know if there's an urge for M&Ms, or if there's an urge to kind of complete the
with the show.
They kind of go together, like they
right. Yeah, which is interesting. And I think when we do start to reduce the amount of M&Ms, or even like, because there's two variables now, but that does start to make us more present with, what's going on. It doesn't make it as automatic. You know what I mean? Because we know we can only have so many. So, and I would also encourage people too, if this is something you're trying to stop, like really pause and be aware of what's going on in your body. What does it feel like when you really have that desire? Is it heavy? Is it light? What's going through your mind? But Dr. Nicombe, that is interesting. which one do you want more, I guess?
Of the actual M&M or the entertainment of the show? What do you mean? Which one?
Yeah, yeah, which the M&M or the show?
Hmm. Well, I still want to say they're a package deal. I'm still imagining that I might not have the M. So remember, these go together, and I'm watching the show, but then
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I didn't watch the show. So this particular scenario I'm giving you, I'm not. So if I decide to brush my teeth or prepare for bed or iron clothes or study,
Yeah.
I don't have the same like connection between the and
Mm-hmm.
snacking compared
Yeah.
to a totally different thing where I'm not even. So that's a good question. 'Cause I want to say without it's not that I would never eat M&Ms, but without this
Right.
kind of pattern, I might not have the M&Ms. I'm
Well,
thinking.
maybe if you only eat the M&Ms, would you snack at all, do you think, during the show?
Yeah,
Is it like
because remember it was Pringles. I've slowed down on Pringles.
during the show? Like watching
Yeah,
shows too?
because even
Okay.
like this show, I don't normally eat on this show, but I was like, ooh, this is kind of subtle and sneaky and just
I
yeah.
know that's probably why you're glad I was gonna leave this week because then you can eat your
Well,
M&Ms.
yeah.
I'm dead.
So
But I would
I don't know.
say
It's a good question.
so I would say that is actually really interesting because they're tied together. But um again, if you wanted, so it sounds like it's when you're watching a show, and I wouldn't say eliminate both of them obviously at the same time. It's still like maybe allowing a certain amount.
Yep.
Um, if you're wanting to like stop, because again, you technically you don't have to just completely stop doing it, but maybe being more intentional with how many
More intentional. Right.
you eat or whatever. Um, and but I also liked earlier how you said it being a reward too. That's something that helps people keep going with a new habit or changes is when they do something that they're already doing that they enjoy,
Yep.
but they couple it up with something that's so let's say you're trying to stop or you're trying to go to bed at a so you're trying to go to bed earlier, is that right?
So instead of a 12, 1 a.m., want to do 10:30.
Okay. So let's say you do something, obviously before bed, you want to be careful with what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
let's say you do that favorite thing before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, or sometimes it's like afterwards, I think maybe, but then again, that's bed. So that's kind of difficult because you're going to be waking up. Um, but if you couple it, so let's say I want to start doing my homework right after school. Well, I will have my favorite snack after I do my homework. I'm already eating my favorite snack, whatever, but
Right.
I'm going to do it after I do my homework. It's just more enticing, it's more attractive. We want to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, if we're wanting to, create a new habit or to achieve a goal, is to not add friction as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Decumby, if you want to stop eating M&Ms or eating as many M&Ms, don't just leave the bag there. That's going to
Mm.
take a lot for you to not do it,
Right.
you know? So remove the friction and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you you meal prep your M&Ms, like you make them in little
Right.
baggies. That's kind of cute
Yeah.
actually. Like you have, okay, here's my little baggie for the night and that's it. But it
Yep.
doesn't, so you're making it easier for yourself.
Yep. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. In fact, that's interesting you say that. I've thought that before because again, even though it says family size or share, I can go through them really without. It's almost like this should be the regular size anyway. So
That's
then,
right.
but then if I brought another one that said maybe like party size, I think at the start, I'm only taking out a portion, but before you know it, I'm bringing the bag back, and then now party size becomes the new average size. So almost what you're saying, if I reversed and used the zippy bags or the Ziploc or whatever the
Right.
different bags,
Right. Yeah.
that becomes the new norm. But that's
Yeah.
the portion,
Right.
right? Um,
Right. And it is kind of, it's just rewiring your brain to this habit, or to, this change in behavior, which ultimately is what is required to achieving your goals,
yeah,
or making them sustainable, or to make, so that you can actually achieve them.
right.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it makes it, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly what you said. It's doable,
Right.
in that sense. So,
Okay. Okay. I want to throw some.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
go
No,
ahead. Let's give a shout out. Let's give some.
you do it. I'm
Let's
gonna take
see.
a drink.
And that. Yep. Go ahead. I'm gonna give some shout outs, and I had both of these streaming at the same time, so that might have been dragging on my network as well. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Someone
you
else.
look good now.
Um, Perfect. But I'm not moving. We'll see. We'll see. Excuse me. So let's give some shout outs and some station identification. Welcome to the Black Men Unfiltered Network. We're with Coach K, and I'm Dr. Nakumbi. We're on breaking the cycle for mental health myths, and today we're talking about New Year's resolutions and goals, not just how to create them, but really sticking to them. Some do's and don'ts, some tips. Excuse me. I want to give a shout out to the International Quiet Storm. It's in the house. Beautiful Animated is in the house. Tyrus is here. And Blaze McCroy. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But Blaze, what's up? Good to see you. Scam Likely's in the house.
Hey,
Trey.
Scam.
Yeah. Dust. Lady Navoa. And a few of our regulars. So Mandrell has stopped by. Uh, if you have not already, please do hit the like button if you were listening on the replay. And this is something that you believe someone else will benefit from. Please do share. That helps us tremendously. And if you're on the replay, leave a comment. That also helps with the algorithms and people knowing about this particular show and our content. Beginning of the year, a lot of people are talking about it or hoping to create some goals and stuff like that. So glad you are here for the conversation.
Yes, thank you for being here. We will be dropping the link in a little bit, for those who want to come up that have questions about their goals, or want to, kind of pinpoint what's going, like why they're not achieving them, or something that they've always wanted to do and they don't know how to go about it. We'll be dropping the link in a little bit, but just a few more things I wanted to cover about goals. So the last thing I was mentioning was not adding friction to your change. So with Dr. Nakumbi and the M&Ms, don't keep them right next to you when you're trying to stop eating as many, or if you're trying to, let's say, work out in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put your clothes out, that's a lot that you have to go through. Not just waking up and getting up early and going to the gym, but now you got to pick out what you want to wear. Reduce the friction. Make it as easy as possible to do it. And that's actually something that I've done for myself. Is I have a great nighttime routine. I don't know when I started it, but it is just clockwork. Like, I just do it without thinking every single night. I always go to bed brushing my teeth, washing my face. I set my clothes out the night before. It reduces time in the morning.
Nice.
But it just makes it easier for myself. I don't know when I exactly started doing it, but it was something that I strived to do. And I started small. If people want to know how I started it, I could actually I can think about it. I don't know. I don't remember now.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's reducing the amount of friction to this new habit that you're creating. So you're making it easier on yourself.
Excuse me, if I move the bag, so let's say before maybe I was just doing some into the show casual, but moving the bag now, like I need something there, like that type of friction, like I'm seeking it because there's nothing there. What do you mean by friction?
You could, well, so in your case, if you're removing something, you might want to make it harder for you to get the M&Ms. Or let's say, well, okay, it depends. So now it depends on where you're at, like in this goal. So if you're trying to eat less M&Ms, reducing the friction might be preparing them in meal prep baggies ahead of time. So
if I took one of these, camera's slow. So if I took one of these, and then like meal prepped it in one of these
ahead of time, but don't wait to get that bag into a little baggie when you're ready to watch your show, because you're not gonna want to do that. Yeah, that works. Yeah, exactly. Like a little Ziploc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to do
then just put this in here.
Yeah.
I can get that. You're right. Just kind of just.
That would fit. But I mean, it depends.
But it wouldn't be the yellow. Like I wouldn't see the yellow bag. I would just see.
You could make it harder, I guess. Yeah, like what if someone like they swap them? It's just doing the same shit, But so instead, so like with the friction, for example, if you are ready to watch your show, don't put the M&Ms in the baggie right then and there. Like you're ready to watch your show, do it ahead of time, so it's one less thing. Like it's easy to do, to eat your amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because in the moment, I'm really going off those emotions still. Because remember, I'm prepping for the emotional show. I'm prepping for the action. So really, I'm collecting kind of in prep of the show versus okay. So here's more realistic. Let's say a bag like this size. So here's So here's my option for when I go watch. This is what I have to work.
It's already there. Yeah. It's easy for you to do because it's already done. A good example of just how automatic our habits become is when we're driving and we're like, how do we even get here? I don't even remember like seeing that light, whatever. It's because we've done it so many times. And these habits, good or bad, we've done them so many times. We're kind of like autopilot. So that's why we have to do it ahead of time. Or we make it harder for us. Again, it depends on the goal, how we're going to deal with this friction, but make it easy. If you're trying to do something new, eliminate as much friction as you can. Set yourself up to succeed versus I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to get up and do it because it's my goal. No. So reduce the amount of friction as much as possible. Another thing that I think is interesting, and a lot of these come from not only my coaching and my studies, but also Atomic Habits by James Clear. Amazing book, completely transformed how I saw goals. And he really reinforces the idea of making them be systems that you follow and implement versus just some type of outcome, because ultimately you get the outcome from your systems that you're incorporating and repeating over and over. But anyway, Atomic Habits. Yes, Sir Hale speaks in the building. Hey, Sir Hale. He says improve 1%. That number that he breaks that down in the book is so amazing. It's crazy how if you improve by 1%, it matters. Now, if you decline by 1%, there's a bigger effect. So, because sometimes people are like, oh, just doing this little bit, that's not going to matter. It actually does. But Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay, last thing I wanted to cover, and then we can drop the link, is making your environment, this goes to the friction too, making your environment work for you. So if with the M&Ms, actually I might skip this one because we kind of talked about this a lot with the M&Ms. Setting your clothes out the night before. I don't know what's another thing that people want to stop doing or start doing. Let's say how they're I guess studying, maybe keeping your books out, things like that. So, but with your environment, having your books out so then you see them. Since this isn't automatic, your brain is not, it's not going to be at the forefront, but when you put it in your environment and you see it, it's going to be that reminder, hey, we're going to do our homework or whatever. And visual reminders are huge because not only with our senses in general, but especially our vision. Where did I write this down? Let's see. We have about 11 million sensory receptors in our brain and with our sight. So sight is a huge thing. So visual cues are a catalyst to behavior. And I thought, in the book he includes, and this just makes sense, the when you're at the store, there's things, in the aisle. So just putting them in our face, people buy them. But if they weren't there, would people really want to buy them? Probably not, So just setting up your environment to work for you, and so that you can see things, and also that it goes to reducing the friction. Let's see. Sir Hale says, make up your bed every morning, prepare your meals, use a calendar and honor it. Yes, for sure. That is huge. I mean, I love all this stuff, but I think right now, Dr. Nakumbi, if you're good. Oh, one more thing. See, I'm going to talk about all this stuff. The people around you is huge. So whatever they're doing, whatever they're doing, you're most likely going to be doing the same thing because of our desire to, have a tribe, to fit in. But if they're, used to going out and tailgating and doing, drinking beer or whatever on Sundays, but you really want to start going to church, you might need to find a group of friends who that's what they do. They go to church on Sundays. Doesn't mean you stop being friends with them, but it's going to be easier for yourself to step into these new goals with a circle of around you that does the same things. It's not going to be as much of an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So,
but I have a couple of challenges.
Let's go.
To throw your way, but it's just more of a side thought.
Yeah.
Because going backwards, it might actually be better. Like you said, it might actually be better for me to have a support network.
Mm-hmm.
But notice for this particular habit where, excuse me, there's really not the company. I mean, there's not. So I'm talking about watching the shows and snacking for this particular habit. And if friends came around, I might even hide, like, this is harmless, but if there was some shame behind it, like if I know they're gonna be like, man, put them damn M&Ms down, holding me accountable,
right,
reminding me of my why. That's your beach body. That's the secret to the beach body. Oh, come on, you guys, come on, fine.
Right.
So I think honesty, being truthful about, I mean, I don't have to name all my goals, but
right.
If I'm going to have those friends, if I'm going to have those accountability people, it's not just the thing I'm working on, but how they can actually support me. How?
Yes.
If I don't really tell them, I just, I'm just cutting back. If y'all see me with M&M, say something. But they might be like, oh, you got the peanut kind instead of peanut butter. Yeah, but they said something.
Right.
Now I want to throw a couple of twists in there because The emotional eating. So if I'm talking about watching
Mm-hmm.
shows and I'm emotionally eating,
Mm-hmm.
and if this is because did you know sex, chocolate, and certain drugs actually all share the exact same dopamine rush? So in this case, just this one case, because we're talking about I know you're talking about in general,
Mm-hmm.
resetting, creating some new habits,
Mm-hmm.
setting myself up for success.
Right.
But one of the things I have to consider the particular habit,
Right.
because sex. If I say, well, you know, you're doing too much, the reduction of it also involves a reduction in the dopamine, a reduction in the M and
Right.
M's or chips or whatever this is feeding. There's a reduction. Now I agree with you. This will align. So when I say, hey, we're only doing 10. So if I choose to do the larger bag, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
this adjusts and expects. I adjust and get down to this size, then I adjust and I know that I'll have the pleasure of this size here.
Right. Right.
Stress, but that might actually be counter to my goal because stress, I want to actually get a dopamine rush.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I
Like
think some
expecting, yeah, that was one of the
yeah,
expectations when it's if you're stressed at a day of work, like, you're really gonna
yes,
want that thing or whatever. But go on.
exactly. And I just want to say there's some things for people to consider in addition to what we're talking about. I call it kind of background stuff that's going on. You're
Mm-hmm.
stressed, knowing your limits and your capabilities. I love that part about the
Mm-hmm.
friction because if you make it too hard, then you might
Yep.
abort the entire thing altogether.
Yep.
If you make it, I don't want to say too easy, but if you do this like fast fix, but then you don't get the results you were looking for, the fast
Right.
fix, then you might feel cheated, robbed. And there's another one that's called the case of the efforts. Are you familiar with that?
Right.
Right, a case of the efforts
Yep.
where I'm not getting the results I want, so just quick to go to that.
Yep.
And then how much do I disconnect? How much have I disconnected from my higher power? Hey, listen, none of that stuff's working. I'm gonna try and reduce, but I'm gonna reset. And that reset, what does that reset really look like? Am I resetting from not so much the higher power, but I'm just gonna scrap everything and just start doing carrots. But I end up throwing what is it? You end up throwing the something with the
Baby
bath
out with the, yeah, baby
bath
out with the
water.
bathwater. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to say be careful when you're doing like this reset. And
Mm-hmm.
and and I know actually I was with talking to I think it was Dust, maybe Mandrell and OG J Speed, where he's talking about that reset. That what
Yeah.
does that look like, that reset? But anyway, just
Oh
keep it
yeah.
in mind, like a total reset, cool, but you have to be careful when you actually throw out some of the good things that were working for you.
Right.
And then habit, do you know your kind of DNA stuff? If you
Right.
have addiction that runs in your family, addiction. So even though this here, when you were talking earlier, Coach K, about replacing, so I really didn't work on this piece. I didn't work on that part. I replaced the M&M, but I still have
Right.
this belief that I have to have something.
Right.
I have to have, and that works like even people in relationships. I have to have a partner. I have
Yep.
to have this. I have to have a certain type of car. I have to have this. I have to have. So the have to haves might actually sabotage your efforts to reach some of these goals because of the
Right.
have to have. So I can replace the M and
Yeah.
M, but I still have to have something. You don't understand because I get hungry and this is going to mess up my sleep. When technically, if I'm doing this M&M before night, this caffeine in here in the cocoa, that's actually
Right.
what's interfering in my sleep. But
Right.
anyways, I just wanted to add like some additional, like some psychological things to consider because we could put these systems in place, end up sabotaging it, abort the whole plan, all in the name of I didn't even know. You mean I was canceling myself out?
Right. And then we're
Mhm.
defeated and don't want to, we're never going to try again.
Yes.
Yeah. And then then we're worse than when we started. No, that's a great point. And that's what is
Mhm.
so fascinating about, just human behavior and habits and I mean, obviously goals, because it's all,
Right.
intertwined, but for the reasons for why we do what we do. Um,
Right.
but I wanted to answer Sir Hale's question. He says, how do we address the root of procrastination? Many people take all the steps to do something but fail at execution. Any thoughts? So I'll answer, then I'll pass it to you, Dr. Nakumbi.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
also, Mr. Bennett has a question that I think you can answer.
Mhm.
But to address the root of procrastination, um, I think a lot of times it's because people wait till the last minute. They think they do well under pressure. Like, I just perform well under pressure. But
Mhm.
really, I think the pressure is overriding your discomfort that is attached to doing the thing. So if you keep putting off your homework because you don't want to do it, oftentimes two things: we don't want to do it because we have an idea of how we're going to feel when we're doing it, which usually isn't true. We think it's so much worse than it's actually going to be. So we don't want to feel that way. So we put it off. That's our body's way of keeping us feeling good and
Mhm.
keeping us safe. Don't do it.
Mhm.
You don't have to feel bad. Um, but so there's that. But so another thing is also expecting it to not feel good, is another thing. Yeah, it's your homework, you're not going to feel the best. So expect that. Again, we were talking about that earlier. Expect yourself to not, may not be fun or whatever, but you do it anyway.
Mhm.
So again, it's what usually at the root of procrastination is what we think we're going to feel in the doing of it. So that's what keeps us from wanting to do it. So again, kind of identify what that feeling you think you're going to feel is, and that may not be true. And if it is true, well, what's your why? Why do you want to do your taxes? Because you don't
Mhm.
want to go to jail. You're
Right.
going to do your
Yeah.
taxes. So you don't do well under pressure. It's really just that pressure is now overriding the discomfort of doing the thing. So because
Mhm.
you can really plan to set that deadline whenever you want and put that pressure on yourself if you wanted to. Like, if your
Yeah.
homework's not due till next week, how about you get it done tonight? How about pressure then? So is it
Right.
really the deadline that's why you procrastinate? So
Mhm.
hopefully that helps. What do you think about procrastination?
You're spot on. The thought, the perceived feeling
Right.
delays. In fact, so I'm talking about watching evening programming and eating my M&Ms, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that part of this activity tonight could actually play a role in procrastination for tomorrow morning? Because when I'm prepping tonight, why am I prepping so early to go to bed? And I want to get in some programming to kind of take my mind off of things, blah, 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 blah. But most likely take my mind off of what? Work. And I'm going to
Right.
bed early tonight so I can be ready for work.
Work. Yeah.
So already work has crossed my mind. But if I have what's called imposter syndrome, like if I actually have stress at work, do you know my viewing tonight could actually be my way of addressing the emotions for tonight,
Mm-hmm.
which really goes
Yeah.
to tomorrow.
Right.
Another secret, and not to, because I don't want to make it weird or awkward, but probably too late. Um, some people have certain rituals,
Mm-hmm.
self-soothing rituals
Right.
in the morning before work. A lot of times they
Interesting.
associate it with, I just want to squeeze, I need to get a release.
Right.
Not even realizing the dopamine rush, remember sex, chocolate, or certain drugs, the feel good that I get from the release now actually puts me in a better mood to manage the emotions of work. What do people
It's
say?
like a
I have to have
buffer.
my coffee in the morning. I can't
Right.
jack before my Mountain Dew. I can't jack
Guilty.
before. Right. And again, most people don't put the dots together. It's not a perfect match, but in most
Right.
cases, one does serve the other, and without it, there's a greater increase of
Right. 100%.
yes.
100%.
I can't. I'm ready to work. Hold on, man. I just got to get like, whoo! I really need to get that coffee.
I'm so guilty
Anyway,
of this.
yeah, kids need to do chores, but they can get to the video game because the video game gives them a sense of accomplishment. Where the
Mm-hmm.
chore may take work, or studying might take not ridicule. If I have to show my
Discipline.
work,
Oh,
discipline, and
rejection.
fear of being rejected or judged.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right,
why
right.
and it could be a soft, oh, that 2 plus. Now, how do you get? Let's do this together. Fear, blah 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 blah. What would help soothe me before that homework assignment would be some video game. See, I get a sense of accomplishment with the video game.
Right.
But or food. The problem is for some people, they take in the food, not considering the sugar content, the carb content, and then
Right.
they're now ready to do the work stuff, but they got tired. Same with that's
Right.
a long-winded answer, but yes, I totally believe in what you're saying, that the emotion, like what is the avoidance, the avoidance.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My suggestion is, so here's a counter to that, is a practice of being mindful. So mindfulness,
Yes.
and with mindfulness, you actually want to, that M&M I'm eating, I actually want to observe, like I want to look, and I don't mean like, oh, yummy, yummy. But I really, I wonder, how is this serving me? Have I ever once wondered how this served me? Ever?
Right.
Other than the
Right.
commercial, and other than like I've had the taste and it tastes good, I've never taken time to really examine. Wait a second. You mean, what is this? 18 pieces. No, it's not even that. 12 pieces is 140 calories. Now, if you were really, if I'm working on my summer bod or my significant other, to really look at like, wow, how much of this is of that 140 calories, to know I can actually
Right.
eat probably something even larger. Same way, observing, being observant of what you're doing, why you are doing it. Why am I
Right.
procrastinating? Getting to the root. What's that feeling? Like, where do I feel like I didn't even realize every time we talk about so and so, how come I'm always last to attend the meeting? Is that a safety issue? Like, I got
Right.
tired of being first and maybe surprised, or when my mom used to bust in the room, surprise, and whoop me. So now I want to be
Right.
kind of like after mom goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So really observing, being able to articulate, but being able to describe
Yep.
what you had. What did you eat while watching some M&Ms, a piece of candy, hard chocolate, and wrapped around a peanut? I would have been, and you didn't say this earlier, but I think it's the same thing. Well, I end up saying I'd have been better off eating a bag of carrots. Like, right?
Right.
I end up getting to the point where I end up saying myself, like, yeah, I observed that I had this little M&M. I'm articulating or describing that this was actually 120 calories, a handful of these, and now I'm resetting and working on new habits. And I actually get to the point of saying, shoot, I only get 12 of those when I can have a whole da-da-da for less calories, less this and less that.
Right. Right.
Right. So observing, describing. So anyway, those are just a couple, and then really getting in tune with how you feel about something
Yes. It
by
slows
getting
down the
in tune.
automatic like
Yes.
program.
Because I'm saying like, oh, emotional watching. But what if I didn't have this what is this doing? Is this satisfying me? Is this helping to hype me up? I know people who get sleepy and then they feel like they have to eat something to actually help stay awake,
Right.
but not taking into consideration that when this rush goes through, or that
It'd be even worse.
mountain rush drink, that what are those drinks called?
Sh- Sugar rush
Like a
or
power drink,
energy drink or
energy
what?
drink. But some
Yeah.
people, some of them you get the dump after.
Oh, the
Anyway,
crash. Yeah.
the crash. So I was a little long-winded, but anyway, that was my answer to your
No, that was
question.
good.
I saw International Storm had asked, am I saying less M&Ms and maybe more sex? Because the dopamine rush in chocolate,
Dude,
sex, and certain
it's like
drugs.
it's making your green screen with the is that a green
Oh,
M&M?
oh yeah. Look at that. Yes, that is wow. Look at that. Yeah, see-through. That's crazy.
That's
That's pretty
crazy.
cool. Wow, good observation.
Anyway, sorry,
Now
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
be playing with the different ones. All right. So yeah, so
Less chocolate, more sex.
yeah. So now here's the deal. Not being funny, but the sex part actually burns way more amount of calories.
Right. Right.
Again, not being funny. Like this movement
It doesn't
here,
cost money, technically, right?
well, it depends.
I mean, technically, all right, but let's say
Oh, yeah. If it's your wife or
you're
husband, yeah,
buying the
or your
M&Ms.
girlfriend, boyfriend, yeah. Your partner,
Yeah,
right?
they're
Whoever your partner
in-house.
is.
In-house.
Um, yeah. Now maybe you get the best of both worlds. You have them feed you the M&Ms, right? But the
No,
deal is,
I
if
know.
you can actually do less of this. Now the actual workout, like how much physical, the why, beach
Mm-hmm.
bod, and significant other. What if I partner? Because remember I said an accountability partner.
Right.
Hey babe, would you do me a favor? Because let me do it. I'm probably my eyes are gonna be bigger than my stomach. I'm gonna say, let me put a few more in there. These
Right.
baggies, if you don't mind helping me, hold me accountable. If you see me with this baggie, come snatch it out my hand or whatever. But but
Yeah.
I want to bag these if you'll help remind me, whatever. So the point is, what
Yeah,
if I use
yeah.
that same accountability partner as in, I'm not doing M&Ms tonight. Let's spend a little time, watch the show together. We pour some intimacy into each other, sharing time together. And what if we
Mm-hmm.
were more romantic together? Now,
Right.
if the goal is to lose weight because she doesn't really even want all the extra heavy on her, then
Right.
that's a different story. But the point
Yeah,
is,
right, right.
there's a different calorie. And I mean, sex is actually quite good for you,
Mm-hmm.
uh, psychologically, physically, all that stuff. You'll burn
Right.
way more many calories. So, not being funny, but yeah, more sex. You'll get a totally different workout. Totally different.
Right, right.
Yeah, and uh, I mean, I don't know if that's what you want, but if that's what you want, you I mean, a few strokes and you're already like,
I'm done.
yeah, oh, and you might not get this with the M&Ms. It's just, I mean, you
I'm
really got to.
done.
No, I'm serious. If anyway, coach, it's hard to explain, but this this might be
A+,
this might
seriously.
be the way to go. All right, Paul
I'm
Bennett.
so done.
Mr. Bennett had asked the question:
Yeah.
hereditary. So, a few things to consider about addiction. I want you to consider the environment. You do know nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that become habit forming because
Right.
of the environment. My coping strategies to whatever particular things going on in my environment I can start habits. So environment plays a role. Your
Right.
DNA plays a role. Did you know, Coach? Don't quote me on the year. 1800s might be too far. Did you know early 1900s they actually used cocaine and alcohol in surgeries? Because remember the old dentists
Yeah.
before they had like Novocaine and stuff. They tell you to drink,
Right, right.
and get drunk, and then knock the tooth out. But
Yep.
now that cocaine over decades and decades and decades is in your bloodstream and being passed on generation to generation through the bloodline. So is in our blood from decades ago, but the generations moving forward. So that's another way. Um, so DNA. Now you may have what's called addiction characteristics or traits.
Mm.
The best way I explain that is a light box, no light bulb. No, the light bulb's in there, but the switch hasn't been turned on yet. So you actually have the addictive trait or character. You have that in you. It hasn't been activated. And so you have to be careful because some people like me, I was guilty of saying this. Oh, I've never smoked. Never smoked. That's not, well, one time with my friend, he was smoking and I didn't know secondhand smoke. He was smoking this stuff and we were rapping and we ended up rapping like off top of our heads for like 4 hours straight. He's like, see, you need to, but I was mad because like, I never drank. So guess what the first thing I can say is, I'm not hooked on drugs. Nope. No matter what you say, I'm not hooked on nothing.
Right. I mean, that's a fact.
Relationships, sex, love, cars, money, purses, hell, baseball card collection, working out,
Yep.
working
100%.
out, reading. I mean, anything can turn into an addiction. But please keep in mind when we say, "Oh, I don't have addiction. I don't have addiction. I don't be using that stuff."
Yep.
Food. So anyway, that's my answer to your question.
Yeah, your phone
Oh, your
too.
phone.
Yeah.
Oh my, right? Nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
even put
yeah.
it down before you have to check to see if someone replied or if someone.
The studies are actually really fascinating about the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And people anime, so not the crunch after saying you're not addicted to nothing. I know. I heard that. That was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, the studies about like how teens when they don't have it, or like even how they perform,
Yes.
when they're studying with just
Yep.
it being in their presence,
Yep.
fascinating. I mean, it's detrimental, but it is very
Yeah.
interesting. So
I found
um
a conflict in one of my. Now, I'll just say this quickly. In part of my research
yeah.
about using technology for people who have addiction issues. So the
Oh.
networking, Facebook or any networking, creating an app, and just using the internet. Like
Mm-hmm.
those are three powerful resources or tools. But
Mm-hmm.
what came with that was the addiction, the dependency.
Mm,
So like here you have these opportunities to network more, social apps, da 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 da. But the
right.
addiction rate, you're really just feeding one. You're just changing one beast to another. So yes, I'm
Right.
looking for an AA meeting or NA meeting or SA meeting, Sex Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholic Anonymous meeting on the app finder, da
Mm-hmm.
da da da. But then the can't put it down, playing the games, doing whatever. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still really engaging in an addiction. So anyway, I found that.
Right. Yep, that's so true, and it's really interesting, but unfortunately, that's exactly what happens. Um, but I guess if anyone wants to join, we have about a little under 30 minutes. CBN, if you can drop the link, if anyone wants to join the conversation again, we're really just focusing on goals. And we want to be focused here. If you are having difficulties with a goal, or want to maybe some help identifying how you can make it more achievable, or what went wrong, definitely hit the link. This has been a great conversation. I hope everyone's been has benefited from it, and it does make it. It's like a no-brainer when you start to kind of implement these things and think of them differently. It makes it so much easier for you. And then what, I forget what the quote is, but when you keep go, what is it, like what stays in motion, what's in motion stays in motion, or whatever. But when
Mm-hmm.
you start doing it, you're more likely to keep going. Yes, of course, you might slip up, you might miss a day, whatever. But when you've never done something before, you have no evidence that you can do it. But when you start, you have to create that evidence first, and then that reinforces the belief
Yes.
that you
Now,
can.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, again, when we're talking about pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to create this list of pros and cons, why I should start working on this goal, why I should make it this resolution or promise to myself. But in that pros and cons
Mm-hmm.
list, am I actually, what am I going off of? Am I going off of someone else's words? When I talk about losing weight for the missus, all right, there's a woman I like and I want to be with her, and I believe, I believe, there's no evidence. She never said it. I have no idea what she likes. But I believe if I look like Stud Muffin, that I have a better chance of approaching. So now I have this whole belief system that I need to change my eating habits and blah, 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 so I can look a certain way to
Right.
qualify for her. When I talk about beach bod,
Mm-hmm.
according to whom? Because we can find some social media that says no body shaming, and I just get to go out there looking any way that I want and be proud. But I have this perception that I need to do and look like. So when I'm creating
Yeah.
these goals, what evidence do I have to this belief? What evidence do I have? I might just have to
Right.
engage in some radical acceptance. I might have to deal with my reality. I am who I am. I know for a fact that I don't have to have the M&Ms. I do not have to. But if I'm in denial, I
Mm-hmm.
think the buzzword is delusional, but for this case, it wouldn't be delusional if I'm in denial
Right.
and I'm not dealing with facts. I'm not dealing with information. I don't even know the information. I just found out it's 140 calories for like 8 to 12 pieces. But
Right.
if I'm in denial, thinking well, that's not going to really impact me. The next thing you know it, I done took some Benadryl or something and got more relaxed. And in my kind of mental state, my mental state, sleepy, I done goofed around and ate a whole bag of these. Oh, an entire
Yeah.
bag because of the automatic and got
Yep.
sleepy. And I wake up in the morning with the bag empty in the garbage can. I'm like, damn, I ate all that? So
Yep.
awareness, 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 awareness. Your
Yes.
why, Coach K, I can't, that is huge. That why
Yep.
piece, why am I committed to this? But Coach, is it my why?
Ooh.
I start doing something for you and you and I break up, or you and I have an argument, or you and I whatever, and I just support the whole
Ooh.
plan because you and I have a problem.
Right.
What's that why for? I may say it like verbally, like, well, I want to have the beach bod. And then what do you gain? What do you gain if you get the beach bod? Oh, but then I can play volleyball. And when I land, people won't laugh at me. Like if I bounce on the sand, they won't laugh at me. So again, what is the why for? Well, because blah, blah, blah. And the people won't think, and the people won't think in what they think. Oh, your why is for what others think.
And can you do anything about that?
Right. Now, I'm not saying you can't use that as a motivator. Awesome.
Right, right,
Awesome.
right,
I think we all do that in life, just in general. But at the same time, when we're talking about creating goals, one of the reasons people don't follow through is because they don't stay committed to the commitment. They don't even stay
right.
committed to the commitment. I'm not happy. It's too hard. He said, and she says, talk about standards.
Mm,
I don't even have my own basic set of standards, I'm defaulting to this belief. I'm defaulting to this institution. Not Mandrell, but I know of places that will actually hike up their prices right now, Coach.
oh, I believe
For
it. Yeah.
working out, gym memberships. They know good
Yep.
and well most people are going to stop in a matter of weeks, but they're signing up
Yep.
for 6-9 month packages, a year package.
Mm-hmm.
But you do some research and you'll see people only stay committed to the commitment. Heck, marriages. Get married on Monday, talking divorce on Friday. Right? We're not happy.
What's going on?
So
Yeah.
Trey's in the house. What's up?
What's good with y'all?
See it. Nothing much. Nothing much.
First
And I
time I
know you.
talked to y'all since the new year. Happy
Yeah,
New Year.
since last year. I
I
haven't seen
know.
you since last. Actually,
Happy
I've
New
seen you. Yeah,
Year.
I haven't talked to you since last year. Ha ha. Yes,
I
yes.
know. So what did you have any New Year's resolutions, Trey?
Nah, I don't do the New Year's resolution thing.
Yeah.
Well, the reason is because I'm pretty disciplined. You guys can see I'm pretty disciplined in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the same routine for years now, so um, I don't make resolutions. I will say this though, I do challenge myself to do something different than maybe I would have done it. Not in a resolution kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
for
Right.
me it was read more. But not
Mm-hmm.
read more educational things because I can do that. I'm a researcher. I can look stuff up all day. I actually get some sort of sick kind of thrill out of it. It's kind of weird. Like I like researching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have been a
Yeah.
paralegal, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I challenge myself to read more. I guess the proper term would be non-fictional books.
Like
So
leisure.
just yeah, just sort of to allow myself to get away from
Your
you know
like your imagination, but creativity, I guess. Like,
So, and I like movies that are like thrillers,
Mm-hmm.
like heist movies, stuff like that. So I'm reading a book right now called The Perfect Marriage, and it's about um, a man and a woman that are married. The man goes and cheats; he has a mistress, but his mistress ends up dead. His wife is a
oh,
lawyer, and the wife defends him. So this is just
Mm-hmm.
ooh,
something to
that's it.
get me away from the everyday
Yeah.
sort of routine because normally before it
Right.
was I would go read a book, but the book would be on dividend investing. The book would be on, you know what I mean, on the very
Right.
thing that I
Right.
normally do
Right.
anyway. So
Wasn't
that I
a
don't
break.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't make
Okay. So
resolutions, but I do challenge myself to do something different. So this year, the challenge is to me. I believe it's nonfiction. I believe more nonfiction books,
Mm-hmm.
okay. That's
or is it fiction? I always get that confused.
it's fiction, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, nonfiction
Now,
is
yeah.
real.
Okay,
Do you
okay.
set
So
a number?
fiction then. So fiction.
Like, do you set a number? You say, well, this year I'm gonna try and do like 80 books.
Nah,
Right.
just read
Yeah.
What about like how often read? Like every
every day.
day or
Every day.
Yep. So read at
My
least
goal is
something
to
every
read at
day.
least a chapter a day.
Okay.
okay. And was what part of it was difficult at all?
You know what's funny? I come to the gym. Normally, I'm on these streams from the gym because the
Mm-hmm.
hard part is not working out. The hard part is driving here. So I play a mental
Yep.
game with myself by making sure I'm here and then I can do whatever I want to do because I'm not going to leave this gym until I work out, right? It's a little
Right.
bit different
Right.
with books. I have to sort of put myself in a position to sit
Right.
down and actually read. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the difficulty is not finding the time. I have plenty of time. The difficulty is training my mind to say, you have a task for the day, and the task is go read a chapter. So I'm very good with tasks. I wake up every morning, I make up my bed, right? That's my first task every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
military. That's the military in me, right? But
Right.
as I
Right.
have a task, what I've had to add is I've had to treat the reading of the book as a chapter. But I think I may have figured out a way to get around it. I
Yeah.
I bought the book with me. I bought the book with me to the gym, and
Perfect
I'll
man.
read a
Yeah.
chapter or
Yeah.
two while I'm on the treadmill. So I think I figured out a way around.
Yes. That's well, and that's like doubling up, and that's what
Right.
James Clear talks about, like habit stacking too. It makes it, you're more easily, more likely to accomplish it. That is interesting. And one thing you said that reminds me is when I worked at LA Fitness for a very short amount of time. I did not like sales. Well, that's not true. You have to as a coach, right, Dr. Nicole? But we would say that the hardest workout in the gym was getting through the front door.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm with you
Absolutely.
there. That's good stuff though, but good for you, Trey, because that's cool too, because you're obviously very high functioning and you're still like pushing yourself to evolve and looking at like areas you can grow. So that's definitely commendable and that's cool. Like you're still sharpening and evolving in the ways that you can. So that's good. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bennett, what's going on? What you got on this topic? What do you think?
Mr. Bennett, good to see you.
Everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And again, salute to the 7B network. So as you can see, Coach K, the ball heads have once again invaded and taken over the network. So
you
my
guys are
brothers
too
out there.
much.
To my brothers out there. I was actually listening to your show on the way home, and I had asked that question about is addiction hereditary? Doctor, I'm not sure if you quite answered or gave a yes or no. It seems like the answer I was getting that's complicated. That you said obviously there's an environmental component to that, and there's also a DNA component to that. But don't both of those play into heredity? So is that
yes?
Right. So you would answer the question.
Precondition. Yes.
Okay. Again, not to derail the topic off of goal setting. Just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
For sure.
About the topic of addiction. Sometimes I've heard it said that there's really no such thing as an addict. There's simply just choices and consequences, and that anything can be labeled an addiction, good or bad. So like working out, as you said earlier, working out can be an addiction to some people, and gambling can be an addiction. And then where do you draw the line? Like I was just in Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago, and people in there, spending money and whatnot, and it's just a form of entertainment. When does it go from entertainment or something that you may like very much? If sex can be an addiction, then how do you differentiate between someone who just loves sex, wants it every day, and it's just a healthy thing they just like to do, and it being an addiction? So it seems like there's a moving target with the term. And then I think also from a society and cultural perspective, there's a stigma that oftentimes come with that, where to say, we are quick to judge people with certain quote unquote addictions, even though we may have our own. And is there anyone who can honestly say that there's anybody who doesn't have any addictions? I have no addictions. Is that even a true statement to say? Just as human beings, we adopt trends and habits and things that are just part of our lives that we deem to be important. The only thing that may change is the technology or the environment that is around us. But can anyone say that they're not an addict of something? Or if we can say that, then is anyone addicted to anything? Is it simply just choices that we make, consequences that come with that? And so when we use these terms, are they more or less just tools that we use to either to judge or to, categorize or stigmatize people in certain ways, knowing that we may be dealing with stuff on our own, but say, oh, you're addicted to whatever. But, you were saying, I'm addicted to M&Ms or something. So we all got something going on. So where do we get the moral judging robe to say someone's an addict or not? Or should we even be in that conversation? So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
That's interesting. Go ahead, Dr. Nakambi.
Thanks for the question. I think it's a great question. Thanks, gives us the opportunity to actually break it down. I think when Trey says he goes to the gym, that's by choice. I go to the gym. I choose to work out. I even choose to read this material while I'm working out, all by choice. If he likes it, great. If he doesn't like it, but he says, I need to do it, it serves a certain benefit, choice. The real standard about when it becomes an addiction is when you no longer you lose the choice in it. So if I don't do it, I have a problem. It's impacting me going to work. It's impacting my relationships.
Negatively.
Negative impact to my functioning ability. I have to have a hit of X, Y, and Z. I have to, even in face of the consequences. I should not drink and drive, but one won't hurt me. I can at least make it home. So now, if I make it home, great, and if I don't, great. Sex.
But I have to have it. Yeah.
I have to have it. Just to think about what Trey says again. Always use protection. But do you know I've had clients who use meth, and they will say that I'd rather catch an illness, I'd rather catch a disease on purpose than to have to try and focus on when they're getting high and when we're getting some with, oh, let's use protection, let's pause. Huh? There are people who are not on, there are people who just, once I put it in, it's up to you to protect yourself from getting pregnant. I'm not pulling out. Why don't you just, I always feel it raw. I mean, they set conditions. And even if you said, well, there's a chance of herpes, hell, there's even a chance of crabs. Even if you don't put it in, there's just lice down there. And go right past those warnings. I call them yield signs. They go right past the yield signs and stop signs and still engage. So when the risk goes up and they can no longer control, like they have to do it, that's when I say you've crossed over to the addiction part.
But there is a chemical dependency too, which I mean, really learning about this is insane, about how the brain changes. And I can at least attest to the chemical dependency. And I'm in the sense that, I take a SSRI that if I do not have it, I have withdrawal, and it is terrible. Now, there are negative consequences if I don't take it, and not consequences, but the withdrawal effect. They're just withdrawal effects. Now, I am not going to do necessarily bad things to get my prescription, but my brain definitely is dependent on it. That's why since June of last year, I've been titrating down 10% a month to allow my brain to get used to getting off of it. So I'm down to 19 milligrams. It's actually when we started our show, Dr. Nakomi, kind of. Gone from 40 to 19.
Yeah.
So there is that chemical dependency, but I'm not going to engage in risk-taking behaviors to get it, if that makes sense.
Can I ask y'all?
Yes, go ahead.
Is there such a thing as positive addiction? Like, for instance, me coming to the gym, there have been times where I have maybe negated doing some other things. Not necessarily like life-altering, but they may have been important. Is there such thing? But I'm coming here to do something good for my body because it's routine, you know what I mean? Is there such thing as a positive addiction?
I don't think. Go ahead. No, you get.
There's always going to be too much is nothing. Too much is something. That exists for everything. So I would think, that even for exercising, you can do too much. You can do too much, and you can hurt yourself by doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So
not the physical exercise itself. The act of exercising or going to the gym, as opposed to doing something else that was equally or more important, but my mind is saying you're supposed to be at the gym. Go to the gym. You see what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
It's similar to Dr. Nakumbi swapping out, and I'm not saying he's addicted to M&Ms, but it's swapping out the M&Ms for carrots. If he's eating carrots, while someone could say that's a healthier habit, still it's not getting to the habit itself. It's still, there's a root, thing to it. So if it's detrimental to you spending time with your family, or for you, earning an income, I would say that's not a positive addiction.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now so one could say, well, it's exercising the positive, but is it? What are the net outcomes? I guess I would say.
Well,
that was the point I was getting to.
I throw a challenge in to say there is positive addiction, but what makes it switch over to negative, you have to be careful of two things. You have to recognize withdrawal, and you have to recognize consequences. So minus withdrawal and minus negative consequences, you actually do have a positive addiction, which is a habit, but is a positive habit. Because when we're making money, unless we're doing something crazy to make money, but it's a compulsion. So is it a compulsion that you can control or not control? Like if you have to take medications or you can't stop it, is it intrusive? So in other words, Trey, if you say, oh, man, I got to work out. Ooh, I got to work out. I got compulsion and intrusive, not so healthy. But if you say, oh, yeah, time to work out, but if I miss tonight, it won't kill me. If I go there tonight, I actually have a plan to do cardio versus. So
Or
it's a
go to my
slight challenge to say
self-worth.
yes, self-worth. So there's a slight small challenge to say the word addiction. If we identify that, no is no such thing as positive. But I say minus the consequences, minus the withdrawal, and it's not a compulsion that we're surrendering to, then yes, sir, there are positive things that we do as habit. That's habit.
But a lot of times we don't stigmatize them. It's like if you look at anybody who's like the best at what they do, right? Like a professional athlete.
Yeah.
You get paid millions of dollars to sacrifice, give up everything, give up your family, whatever, to be successful. You win the championship. And then also how we as people, like we don't look at those people. If you talk about really the powerful, the billionaires, or if you talk about those who, have a way of doing things that you could look at and say, hey, they're so focused on what they're doing to the expense of everything else. And then I also notice with a lot of these people, a lot of the things that they do, it goes into every aspect of your life. Like if you're an athlete, they're hypersexual, or they or if you're a billionaire, you got mistresses all over. I mean, there's something about when we see all these times, these very powerful people that we oftentimes idolize. And this is getting back to the point I was saying earlier about how we judge. So if you're successful, if your addiction made you successful, then we think you're great, or that's a winner, that's focus, and and all those things. But if whatever your habits were in the negative, where you're an addict, you're homeless or whatever, we look at you in a certain way. So I think there's a societal component in terms of how we look at ultra or hyper successful people. Like that guy who's that guy, Trey, works out all the time, Goggins, or
David Goggins.
David Goggins.
I mean, he's just a fanatical.
I love him.
Just great, but I mean, he does stuff that 99.99% of people just don't do. I mean, he puts themselves in these dangerous situations sometimes in terms of what he does. But again, he's admired and he has followers because of what he does. But what if he said one day, it's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Or if he says, I can't stop doing this because look at everything that comes with it. Look, I lose all my followers, I lose my fame.
Right.
We don't look at him as an addict. You know what I mean? Well, so again, I think that's how we look at it. It really depends on what it is and how we view the people. It's not like that's what I'm saying. It's a moving target because it doesn't apply to everybody equally.
Now, beautiful Annie, I want to get you in the moment to actually have you do intro and just even what else you want to bring to the show tonight. Just before we do, and I take about maybe 40 seconds to respond with this. So one, polygenic, so more than one gene is activated. And so you want to consider that, the addiction is the actual thing is tied to something else. So what did it tie to? So when we think about addiction, like this person who works out, what is that tied to? Because they tie that to something called tolerance. The reason it sounds sexy is because it looks like, holy buckets, they have increased tolerance. They're stronger, can perform better. But when you hear those athletes that are 45, 50, and they know they should no longer be in there, but they can't stop, that's when we hear the addiction, because we know they really don't have the capacity to perform the same anymore. It doesn't mean they can't, doesn't mean they can't perform, but the capacity and the tolerance is different, but that's tied into something different. It might be tied into, as long as they continue to pop that pill, that energy pill, so they think they're performing, but it's really the pill. So now you're mixing in like energy medicine, or you're mixing in something that's what's keeping them performing. But if you minus some of these things, that's when you'll see like, oh, I don't have the tolerance. Withdrawal is kicking in, and so different things to consider, because it could turn from positive to negative because you blew past the warning signs. You blew past that. And then last thing I would say is also remember, if you start adding in these different things, let's say I'm doing it for the fame, I'm doing it for the response that I get from the people. I lose that response. I get energized by the entertainment.
Right.
But I have to maintain this. Yes, but I have to maintain this, which the addiction piece is really about my sense of intimacy my sense of connection, my belief that I'm not worth anything unless I continue to do this. Those are the risk factors that keep me going beyond the time I should be going. All right.
That we might have to do a show on that. That's really interesting.
All right. Hey, what's
Guys,
up? Beautiful animated. What's going on?
Beautiful
Oh, yeah, something
Animated,
else?
First you
Did I
had
hear?
hey.
Happy New Year. Happy
First you come
yeah,
out with
Happy New
M&Ms.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, hey.
No, I was saying first you come out with M&Ms, now you got Twizzlers.
Oh,
I know.
actually, no. No, this is almost. But no, this is just a prop. These are twist ties, rubber twist ties, something like that. Yeah. But
Yeah,
They do
I
like
mess with
Twizzlers.
you.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, we all know that why people fail at having New Year's resolutions, because people don't stick with them, because they forget the fact that whatever goal they're looking for is not short term, it's supposed to be long term. So therefore you have to be working on your life change. You have to make life changes to lose weight, life changes to make more money. You know what I'm saying? Just different things. These are not resolutions anymore. I'll say that the phrase needs to be retired. Back in the day, people made New Year's resolutions and they stuck with them, right? Now the majority of people are not sticking with that towards their goal. They're not making, so it just needs to be retired, and you just be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for to do. And these are the changes I have to make in my life to do it, to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
so,
but the rewards. What's this resolution mean? Like, what do you mean by resolution?
Most of the New Year's resolutions that you hear about are losing weight.
Yeah. And the root of that, or
everybody gets
is...
everybody runs to the gym and they're just like, oh, right. And then what, a month ago or 2 weeks to a month, they're done.
Yep.
But what was the why? You can't answer for everyone, but I mean, it's like, what do you hear typically as the why they want to do it?
You don't hear too many people saying the why, and the few that you do hear from are saying that they want to be healthier or they want to look better or something like that,
Yeah.
Definitely, I think looking better probably is the people who are not sticking with it, probably living healthier and feeling better. You have more of them sticking with it than not, but it's still a small number who are sticking with it. Yeah. And yeah, I'm one of those people who I've never had a problem with getting addicted to anything, right? And then I started I started vaping. I think y'all seen me vape, whatever, before. That was the damnedest thing to get off of. Like, what the hell? But I work uniquely, so I knew what steps I needed to do to get off of it, right? It's just I had to program my mind to accepting that I'm about to stop. So I'm not a wasteful person. So after using the whole bottle, get on that last juice, right? It's like, okay, this bottle's done. I'm not going to buy anymore. And that's how I stopped.
Right.
But I'm not a wasteful person, so I couldn't just throw away the bottle. It was like, I tried, I could not do it. But what I could do was not buy anymore. And I packed the things away, whatever. And I haven't vaped since. It's like it was crazy to me because I've smoked a cigar, no problem. I've smoked hookahs, no problem. Like I start when I want, stop when I want. There's like months to a year that goes between any of that, right? No problem. But the hookah the vape I had a problem with. It's like it's something else in that damn juice. It ain't right.
Yeah. It could
So,
be like the concentrate, the concentration or whatever it is, but also I wonder, and this might be a small portion, but the ease of access too, like it's just so much easier than, hookah or a cigar. I mean, it's just you keep it in your pocket or whatever.
yeah.
It's just easy to use, which can make it harder also to quit too.
How much of these resolutions? So my philosophy has always been that people fall flat on their resolutions because the incentive or the results don't come quick enough, right? If you say that you're going to lose weight, I always tell people who talk about, I want to lose, hypothetically, let's say they want to lose 30 pounds, right? And I would say, well, how long did it take you to put on the 30 pounds? And they say, well, it took me 3 years to put on the 30 pounds. I say, well, it's quite possible it could take you 6 years to get it off. Now, I always tell them that. I always double the number. So I wonder, the first of the, I'm in the gym often, obviously. The first of the year is always packed, right? And yes, it will sort of fizzle out right around Valentine's Day. You'll start to see it sort of dissipate, right? But I think a lot of it has to do with, hey, I gave it 30 days. I'm not seeing the results. So what's the incentive? The incentive is I'm supposed to be losing weight, but it's not happening fast enough. And then when you live in a microwave society, right? We live in, I call it 4 minutes or less, right? We live in a 4 minutes or less, right? Power on high, right? If it doesn't happen immediately, then you don't want it anymore. So I think we have a society that's microwavable. The incentive isn't there, and the results aren't coming fast enough.
Right.
Could be an issue.
Yep. That's another one. They quickly get discouraged. That's yep.
Yeah, and I think what could maybe be, and I'm gonna have to go in just a second, y'all. But what could be a tweak to that is, identity is a big part. But instead of going to lose weight or you're trying to hit this number, you're going because you're someone. So the shift in the mind, instead of I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to be a healthier person, or I'm going, because I'm someone who goes to the gym 3 days a week. So then it's like your result or expectation that you're looking for is going to the gym 3 days a week versus I'm going to lose weight. You know what I mean? Even though you are, but it's still kind of like tripping up your mind. So you're not solely, waiting for that result, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm like losing.
Well,
I
know you got to go, but how much of this is just a lot of, I would say, by and large, the community, the United States, the people in the United States just need to be reprogrammed, because this idea that things are going to happen overnight is a problem.
It's all of our it's like we're all computers with the same program. Yep. We're all running on the same program, pretty much.
Right. Remember regular oats? Now it's quick oats, right? Everything's faster, quicker.
Right.
You could have oatmeal in less than 60 seconds, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's do a round of final thoughts. Let's do about 30 seconds. And Mr. Bennett, to answer your question, in America, whoever did the stats, Dr. Yahoo said more than three to four times. Anything above 4 to 5 times of sexual activity a week means it's an addiction. It's a compulsion. 3 to 5 times a week. I don't know who made those numbers up. I don't know who counted per stroke.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question. Is that individual sessions?
Yeah. So if you have a wife or a husband and you have sex 3 times a week with your wife, and then you self-soothe another 5 times, that's 8 releases a week. That's considered a compulsion.
Wow.
According to the Dr. Yahoo. So we'll have to talk about that another time, but according to the Dr. Yahoos, that's compulsion.
Dr. Yahoo? Is that a real guy?
No, just according to the doctors that came up with that stuff. Yeah. So they say OCD specialists will say that. All right, so 30 seconds. We're for those who are here, Black Men on Filters Network. We have special guests up. We're closing up. We're going to talk. We're giving a final thought on setting goals, New Year's resolutions, and/or tips for. So, what's the number one tip for setting a goal and sticking with it for as long as you can? Just take about 30 seconds and offer that. Or Coach K, is that like a good final question for what you were talking about?
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wants to go first.
I'm sorry. What's the question? Again? I'm sorry.
I'll say that.
Oh, it's one tool that
how,
you said. Number one tool, or one tool to help you, stick with your goals. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Dr. Nakambi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm gonna say be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Don't just use the words New Year's resolutions. Make life changes. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Especially for big goals, you gotta make life changes. And anything that you have no control over is an addiction.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Bennett.
Well, I'm not. I confess, I'm not a major goal setter. I definitely believe in just having balance in life throughout. I mean, the goals that I had last year, I'm still working on them. So definitely financial independence and being debt free. I think those are things that are just ongoing, and just focusing on the work more so than the result. I think if you do the work, I think the results will come. So, it's not even about just going to the gym. It's like, what are you doing in the gym? Because I see a lot of people at the gym who are just, not really putting that sweat equity in or doing things improperly. So how you do something, I think, is just as important as to what you're doing or just the activity of going. But what you put into the session, because I used to be addicted to the point where I was working out 5-6 days a week. Now I work out twice a week for a total of about an hour and 10 minutes total. That's it. And I still got a lot more results doing that than going or doing what I was doing because I was beating my body up. But I was just saying, I just got to get to the gym. So, so again, being able to assess what works and what doesn't and focus on doing the right things right or more rightly. And then judging your value on doing those things and the results will manifest themselves, I think, in the future. So again, I'm not a big annual guy, sit down with a paper and pad and just write things out, but that's just how I live my life at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Trey.
Yeah, be patient. Listen, Rome was not built in a day. It took them a long time to build it. And a lot of you guys are very impatient with yourselves. Take time. Me coming to the gym every day did not happen just because I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to start going to the gym every day. It was actually over months. And then I just realized I'm here every day. This is kind of crazy. And it becomes a habit. So be patient with yourself. If you're going to set these resolutions, you're going to set these goals, understand that those resolutions and goals take time to sort of work themselves out. And what I've noticed is that typically what happens is you sort of get this sort of slap in the face with a bunch of bricks and go, wait a minute, I did it. I did what I set out to do. I'm doing it now, and I'm not even consciously thinking about it. I'm just doing it now because it's become a habit. Be patient with yourself.
That's good.
Love
That's
it.
good.
I'll just add. Consider why you're doing it. Creating the goal. Is the goal really a coping strategy for you? If you have a problem with being delayed or procrastinating your paperwork, if you have paperwork to do, and you're going to create this new goal to make sure you're more efficient with your paperwork, but you haven't resolved the reason behind being a procrastinator. So you can create a new goal, but the second you fall back into the root reason for being a procrastinator, most likely the goal you set will collapse. I mean, it'll help you maintain, but not really resolve the true issue. So be careful when you're setting it as a coping strategy. Also be committed to the commitment. Is it realistic? Is it something you can even do in the first place? Because I'm a DBT trained, certified DBT skills provider, and we believe there's both ways. I'm fat, ugly, and blah, 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 and I need to lose some weight. They both may be true. So don't all of a sudden I just need to lock into one. They may both be true. No matter how much weight I lose, I'm still not going to be 100% happy with myself. Only do what you need to do. Don't overdo it and then collapse and then double the weight back because you got a case of the ethics.
Right. And you kind of stole mine, but I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit.
Okay.
No, you're good. Yeah, you do. Was start small. If you're trying to lose weight, start by just going for a walk for 5 minutes. It might sound like it's not moving the needle, but you're building that identity. You're building that that level of showing up for yourself. Because if you start off too big and it all comes crashing down, like Dr. Nakumbi said, you're gonna get more done, and it's gonna chip away at the walks than when you start big and then end up failing and not doing it at all ever again. So start small, and then when you start building that that commitment and that evidence for yourself, then you can start adjusting it and increasing the amount or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely say start small. So
yeah, even a good trainer is going to start you off at a baseline and move you up.
Yep.
Thank you for coming up. Beautiful
Thank
animator,
you guys.
Mr. Bennett and Trey. Good to see you guys. You take care of yourselves.
Yes.
Black Man Unfiltered Network. Coach K and Dr. Nakumbi. Final shout out to Quincy was in the house. Trey, I almost said Raw Dog Ronnie was in the house, but that's Dust. Lou Medic, bringing through Lou Medic. Tyrus, International Quiet Storm, Lady Navoa, and company. Thank you, everyone who's been here. Please hit the like button.
Yes.
And if you haven't, please subscribe. Hit the cash apps. Hit the cash apps. Hit the cash apps. And I think someone did actually, Lou Medic. So thank you very much for your support. And we'll see you tomorrow on the network if you choose to be here for the barbershop.
It's gonna be wild.
It is gonna be wild.
Guys.
8:30 p.m. Central. Peace.
See you guys.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute, work hard for the car, so that's why it's all tinted. Wait a minute, had a real late night, woke up with my head spinning out Nashville. It's been mad real, I need sunglasses, I need Advil. I like fake boobs, and my cash real. I like first place, you're in last still. Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.
Look, pocket rocket in my pocket, please don't make me pop it. All these boys just wanna copy the style, tell them niggas stop it. Whoa, it's my destiny, feeling like LaToya, like it found me my Beyonce, and she shotgun in the cockpit. Grinding with the team, making C-notes. In my pocket still full of green, call it CeeLo. Alligator watch on me, Tim Tebow. And these haters love to watch me like Tebow. Look, I don't take L's, I just learn a lesson. Before I count the M's, always count my blessings. Look, I'm too short, never second guessing. Got some money put up for the rain, so I'm never stressing.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles.